So on this video, we're going to talk about the most common mistakes that day traders make, and they are so easy to fix. But sometimes it takes you actually having to make the mistake before you even know you need to fix it. I can tell you all day long not to touch the stove, but you're really not going to understand why I'm telling you not to touch the stove until one day you get burned, and then you know really not to touch the stove. So some of the most common mistakes day traders make is, first of all, trading without a plan, trading without proper risk management. What does that mean? That means when you enter a trade, whether it's long or short, you need to know where the target is. Where is it going? If it does what you think it's going to do, how far up is it going to go? Or how far down is the price going to go if you're shorting? And then that would be your take profit target. You also need to know where you're putting your stop loss. Okay. I always teach new people, new traders. I teach them that wherever you enter the trade, we're going to put a 10% stop loss just as a safety net in case it reverses or goes the opposite direction than what we want. Then the worst case scenario is you lose 10% of your margin. So let's just say your margin is $1,000. That's what you're risking, but you're at 10x leverage. That means you're playing with $10,000, but you're still only risking $1,000 worth of margin. You put a 10% stop loss on that. You're really only risking $100. So if the trade goes against you, the worst thing you can lose is $100. But if it goes 5% in the right direction, then you're making 5% of $1,000, which is $50 times 10, which is a 50% gain on that trade because you're at 10x leverage. So you're making a 50% gain on a 5% move in the market while risking only $100. So you're making 500, risking 100. That is a 5-to-1 risk to reward ratio. So you need to understand these before you should even take your first trade. You need to understand that. So I see a lot of people that come in to Crypto Renegades, which is our trading group, and they've already started trading. They already have a trading account set up and they've already made some losing trades, and they know nothing about what I just said. They're just going long and going short. They're just buying and selling. They see it going up, so they get in. They see it go down, so they get in. And so what we call that is trying to catch falling knives. And when that happens, you tend to get cut. Okay, so don't catch falling knives. Don't try to chase trades. You need to wait for proper trade setups. So rule number 2 is trade setups. What is a trade setup? Well, when a price is coming into a wedge or an apex, meaning it's bouncing on support and then it's going up and hitting resistance, and the resistance is getting lower and lower and lower, but the support is staying even like a floor. That means it's coming into a wedge. And so when it's coming into that little wedge, that is something you sit and wait for. You wait for it to break out of the wedge. So you want to wait for a breakout. That's a proper trade setup. And if it breaks to the upside of that wedge, we're going to go long. If it retests, and if it breaks to the downside, we're going to wait for the retest and we're going to go short. And so those are proper trade setups. You should always wait for the proper trade setup. I always tell new traders, sit on your hands. Like, Niko, is there a trade coming? Is there a signal coming, in the next hour or so? It's not a matter of when the signal is going to happen. The matter is I'm only going to give a signal if there's a proper trade setup. You can't rush me to give you a trade signal, because if there's no trade setup, then I'm not going to just throw out signals out there. Go long, go short. No, we got to wait for a proper trade setup, and I'll wait all day if I have to. But there usually is several a day. That's the cool thing about trading Bitcoin futures contracts. There's usually several trade setups a day. I used to say, and I still to this day tell people, it's like sometimes they'll message in our Slack and on our Discord channel, hey, is it too late to get on that last signal you gave 2 hours ago? I said, as trade signals are like the bus station. If you missed one, the next one's coming in 5 to 10 minutes. So just wait, just be patient. You didn't miss anything. There's another trade setup coming. But if you missed the first one, just wait for the next one. Don't worry about it. Another thing that a lot of traders do, they're very impatient. They get into day trading because they see people making a lot of money and they want to make a lot of money quickly. They got get rich quick mentality, and you can get rich quickly. You can make a lot of money quickly, but the people that do make a lot of money quickly learned a skill that may have took them months to gain before they started making money quickly. So I know that might seem kind of counter to quickly, but the reality is that if it takes you 6 months to really understand this, and then all of a sudden you start making money very quickly, is that still quickly? Yes. I would say that if you could make 6 figures in your first year of trading, that would be pretty damn good. But it might take you 6, 7, 8 months to learn the skill to make $100,000 in your first year. You might make it all in the last 2 months of the year. But then the next year after that, you can 10x that. And the next year after that, you could 10x that. So you gotta put things in perspective. This is like learning a new language. And if I were to tell you that if you just learned a new language, like if I just made up a language, let's say Portuguese or Spanish, and you didn't know that language, and I said, if you learn this new language within 1 year, 12 months, I'll give you $500,000. Would you do it? Would you try to learn that new language? A lot of people say yes. I would definitely learn a new language if I would make 500 grand at the end. And here's the thing. Trading is like a new language. And when you start to learn it, it may seem a little confusing. But the cool thing about trading is that you don't even have to become fluent at the language. You can just be barely understanding the language and still make $500,000. In fact, we got a lot of people that are scalpers in our group that make multiple six figures in a year, and they really don't even know what they're doing yet. They haven't been doing it long enough to really even understand all the concepts and what's actually happening in the market. But they understand one thing. They understand support and resistance. They understand a little bit of technical analysis. And so that's kind of equivalent to me dropping you off in Mexico after teaching you just the basics of the language and you being able to get by. Just all you need to do is get by. You need to know how to order a cab, how to get to the hotel, how to order a coffee, where's the bathroom, hi, what's your name, como te llama, and say your name. You understand the basics and you can get by in the country. You can probably get by enough to ask someone else for help, and they maybe speak both languages and they can even help you further. And that's why joining a mastermind like ours is important, because you don't need to have all the answers. You don't need to understand the language fully. You need to surround yourself with people who are fluent in the language, and we can guide you and tell you what to say. We can tell you what to do, so to speak. And so, and then by doing what we're showing you, even if you don't understand it fully, you become better and better at it over time. And then you can get to that point where you are making, really writing your own paycheck. There is no limit to how much you can make. There's guys out there that make $6 million in a month day trading. But I can tell you this, they didn't start out that way. So just get get in the game. Okay, it's better to be in the game than not in the game. Start learning. Don't feel pressured that you have to replace your 9 to 5 or replace your current income within the next 30 days. Otherwise, you're going to get kicked out of your house. If you come into day trading thinking that you need to make a certain amount of money by next week or by the end of this month, otherwise you're going to lose your car or your wife or your house or your truck, and it turns into a country music song, then that's not the mentality you need to be. You need to come in comfortable. You need to come in with your bills already handled, with some other income that you have, and you need to take your time learning this language. And then there will come a time in the near future where if you decide you want to stop doing what it was you were doing before, quit your other job or stop a business or, retire, then you can do that. But you need to be able to trade comfortably without the stress and pressure of having to make a certain amount at a certain time. And then you will find that it becomes a lot easier under less pressure to be able to really learn the skill and really make a huge impact in your finances. So I hope that helps. Comment below the video. Let me know your thoughts on this. If you have any other ideas that I didn't mention or any other common problems that traders have, mistakes that they're making that I didn't mention, comment below. I'd like to hear what your thoughts are on that. Otherwise, I'll see you on the next video.